Hello, folks. Welcome to the Crime Dog live stream. I'm your host, Johnny Furica, retired detective with the Rochester, New York Police Department after serving 30 years. I work uniform patrol, undercover narcotic street investigations. I was a hostage negotiator for over 20 years. Closing out my career with the fine men and women of the ATF, that is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Our main focus was violence and gun trafficking throughout these great United States of America. Sitting alongside me, you know who it is. He is at DSims14 on the Twitters or X, whatever you say it. He's a 22-plus year retired detective, also with the RPD. He's a legendary street cop in the infamous, which means more than famous, Genesee section. He's an undercover cop. He's a SWAT team member. He's a homicide detective. D. Sims, what's up, brother? Welcome to the live stream, brother.
Happy to be here, man. Is it cold outside? My dogs don't even want to go out to take a piss.
It's too cold to even take a little yellow snow trip.
Nope, they want nothing to do with it. They go like 2 steps outside the garage and let it go.
Yeah.
Like, fellas, can we get to the woods, please?
What about the little puppy though? The little guy's got to hate it because he's only a little peanut, right?
Yeah, but he's kind of dumb. He just goes running out there. He's the one that goes bombing around a little bit, but he gets tired in like 15 strides.
Do you got to go rescue him from a semi snowbank?
No, I've been trained. He comes.
Yeah.
When I call him and whistle,
Did you have a trainer train him, or did you do it yourself?
No,
Are you the dog whisperer? Caesar Milan?
It's easy. Treats.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
Pavlov. Pavlov's dog.
With labs, it's just treats. It's treat training.
That's right.
Stay calm. You know,
That's
their
right.
name is all and potty outside is all based on positive
That's
reinforcement.
Right. Positive reinforcement. Nice job. BF Skinner actually talked about positive and negative reinforcement. Listen, I'm not going to get above my skis. I was a psychology major. I'm not going to talk any bit more because I do not want to give the audience, because they already know I'm not that smart. So anyways, Dave, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about that. We have to talk about the Minnesota church thing. We're going to talk pretty much about ICE for most of the episode. The reason why is we're in law enforcement, obviously, with literally close to 55 years of experience between us. And hopefully we can give our audience the law enforcement twist on what our observations are relative to what's going on in Minneapolis and all over the country relative to ICE and what's going on. Folks, for those that don't know, which I'm sure you do, a Minneapolis church was pretty much invaded by protesters in Minneapolis, Minnesota. David Easterwood apparently is with ICE. He's with the ICE unit in Minnesota. He's one of the supervisors there. He's also a pastor at the church. So because the protesters have such high brain activity, they're so smart, they thought it would be a good idea if they'd walk into the church, sit down, pretend to be parishioners or new parishioners, and then they disrupted the whole service, David. What a disgusting display of humanity at this church.
Man, again, one of those things, maybe say it out loud, see if it sounds good once it hits the
Yeah,
air.
right.
I've never, I remember on Sundays in the hood, nothing would even happen on Sundays because church was kind of sacred for elders of the ghetto.
Right.
Like, guys didn't even do shootings. Like, it'd be very quiet on Sundays.
Right.
You know, even the bad guys respected the sanctity of Sunday service.
Of the Sabbath.
Yeah. But obviously the left does not recognize the Lord.
Yeah, I know. Listen, we got a little bit of this video. Danny, roll the tape so our audience can see what the hell is going on in case you missed it, folks.
Oh, my God. So bad.
You saw this, right, David?
Yeah, just...
Renee Good!
God.
Renee Good! Renee Good!
Renee Good! Renee Good! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
That's bullshit.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Shane! Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? You have no comment. Exactly.
Hey, pause it for a second. That effing loser that you're hearing in the background is literally a guy that's going to get arrested by the DOJ. He's one of the main instigators of this thing. Thought he was Tommy Toughnuts in the church and started calling people out. First and foremost, David, I had heard of the FACE Act only because I knew of those elderly people that were put in jail that were just standing outside an abortion facility years ago when Biden threw them away, locked them up, threw away the key, and then Trump pardoned him once he came in office in 2024. But anyways, I knew about the FACE Act. I didn't know the FACE Act backwards and forward. But anyways, this whole thing. First of all, let me just say this. In lieu of what's going on in America, school shootings, David, church shootings, David. That's why I want to start first, because a lot of these churches, especially in the synagogues in the Jewish community, they have armed people, usually off-duty cops, off-duty agents in their community that protect places of worship because of what's going on. This thing, David, could have turned really bad really quick.
Yeah. I part of me wishes it had, I did, this has gotten to the point where, again, I don't believe these are peaceful protests. I don't believe this was a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Intimidating people in their chosen house of worship, to me, is not peaceful.
Yep.
And I believe that when people try to intimidate you and press on you and do that in a manner in which they're doing it, strength in numbers, I feel like the only answer, and a million people will tell me I'm wrong, it's you got to push back, and it's got to be harsh and physical,
quick and swift.
Yeah, and that kid stood up, and I know he said he didn't want to talk, and I would never want to do it in a church. He should have throat punched that kid that was running his mouth. You got to meet these people head on and be very aggressive. You cannot let them intimidate you. They surround your car, you run them over.
Yeah.
Okay. They want to pound on your window. You do what you got to do to get yourself out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make them realize that we are no longer going to be intimidated and overwhelmed by them. And if we are, we're going to take some of them with us.
Yeah, like Twisted Sister said, we ain't going to take it. David, I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff regarding this, but the hands up, don't shoot, what they're referring to, most of you probably know, but for those that don't, in Ferguson, Missouri, years ago, Michael Brown, allegedly, which is a lie, said before the cop shot him in Ferguson, Missouri, hands up, don't shoot. That was bullshit. That never happened. So these idiots that are saying hands up, don't shoot, trying to be passive aggressive, more emphasis on aggressive, that's just an effing lie. It's just another storybook. This is Ferguson 2.0. This is George Floyd 2.0. This is BLM 2.0. F these people. And David, what's going on is, and I want to talk from the law enforcement standpoint, and there's a lot of videos. You can't see that guy's face right now in the video. But David, when you and I were on the streets, part of what we did, and this is going to sound a little weird talking about it, but my brother officers will understand. I want to explain it. The way we assess a situation like this, right? We look at the totality. So if the primary aggressor, who's this guy, which I think they're going to show him towards the end of the video, he alleged in another couple of videos that he was supposed to be some combat veteran, out for the people. Here's the revolution, blah, blah, blah. David, when we encountered guys like that on the streets, you and I did a quick mental assessment. We looked at their clothes. We looked to see if they were unkept. Looking at this guy, and I'm not being funny. Trust me, I'm not being funny. He's got shitty yellow teeth, and I'm not making fun of him in that regards. Maybe he doesn't have health care. But when you're evaluating a dude,
we can afford a toothbrush.
Well, when you're evaluating you know, all this stuff goes through a cop's mind when they're going to go hands on and just impose their violence on somebody on the streets. In this particular instance, this guy, you could tell not only of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, but in other videos that you see this guy in, he's definitely unhinged. He has some mental issues, mental health issues. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I will tell you the DOJ is coming after that guy and they're locking him up. They may lock up more people in that group, including Don Lemon, who we're going to show you in a minute, who was in the church with them. He's trying to espouse that, oh, I'm a journalist. Those people are activists. I'm a journalist. No, Don, here's the thing. Especially when I found a video, because I threw Don Lemon in, and David, I found on the twits, there was a video of Don meeting with these people in Minnesota, giving them coffee, giving them donuts, giving them things, giving them treats. So you could say that you're a journalist, but where's the coffee and the treats and the donuts for the cops? So you are on one side. So Lemon better be careful. He may be wrapped up in this DOJ investigation too.
I just hope they start locking people up. I mean, I've heard so much, whether it has to do with, you know, the election stuff, whether it has to do with the previous administrations going after Trump, whether it has to do with the protesters. I mean, it doesn't take long to indict somebody. It really doesn't. Right. You could, like I always say, you can indict a ham sandwich, but no one seems to be getting indicted. So I hope it happens, but I don't know. Pam Bondi's not one of my favorite people.
Danny, run the video. I want to see how far this goes, and I want to show you.
Renee, good. Renee, good.
Freedom! We have a duty to win! We have a duty to win! We must love and support one another!
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters.
Pause it, Danny.
You come here to a man where...
Okay, first of all, when he pronounces Latino, like he's part of the crew, instant blood pressure rise, number one. Number two, the fat black chick that was walking out with her fist in the air like she was one of the Olympians doing track in the 70s and 80s. She's supposed to be, I think I saw her on another video. She's the head of the Minnesota BLM. Yeah, she's credible. She's the one who got interviewed, I believe. I
should live in a mansion.
Well, she said that we went there to demand that the church remove him, who's David Esterfield, the guy that's supposed to be part of ICE, which all accounts, they confirmed that I think it was the guy in a beard. But anyways, she said, oh yeah, we came to tell the church that they got to remove them. Who the F do these people think they are? Who do they think they are? David, I want to talk to you about something right now, because you have a good point. People are getting fed up, and here's the crime dog boys telling it to you right now. We're going to shoot it down the middle. We're not virtue signaling. We're predictors. And we always will put out a video saying, we told you so. David, what I mean by that is, here's another I told you so moment. People are getting sick. They're getting sick and tired of aggressive dudes like him who are unhinged. But a lot of the primary aggressors, David, are women. A lot of them are women. A lot of them are white women. And what's going to happen in the I Told You So episode that we'll probably have next week, couple months, whenever it is, I'm not trying to be funny again. Someone's going to jackhammer one of these chicks, and they are going to knock their teeth down their throat, and they're going to go crying back home to wherever, and it is going to be a bad day for them because people are getting sick. These women are the ones that are being overly aggressive with ICE, and then when they get body slammed on the ground, now all of a sudden there's an issue with how they're handling it, right?
Or shot in the face.
Yeah, or shot in the face. David, when we talk about issues like this relative to law enforcement, these people are not peaceful protesters, okay? But I will say this, and I'm giving them some. I'm not giving them any credit, but if I'm going to say something, they know this is not 2020. They know asshole Joe Biden ain't in the White House, okay? They literally torched and lit Minnesota on fire during 2020 during the George Floyd riots, okay? They're not doing that now. There's some fireworks, this and that. And the reason why, Trump said, gloves off, boys. Someone acts like an asshole, you treat them like an asshole. And that's how we ran our lives when we were on the streets. We never, the last thing a cop wants to do is put their hands on somebody. Trust me, none of us wanted to do paperwork. But there was a point, David, where we're like, fuck this. Okay. This guy's an asshole. This girl's an asshole. You're going to jail. Put your hands behind your back. And if you didn't, then we went violent. That's just how it is. We use the necessary force to effect the arrest. If they went balls to the wall, we went 10 times worse than they did. Okay. And in these instances, I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to escalate. They're going to escalate to the point where people are going to start getting, like I said, jackhammered on the streets. And don't be one of these women's. Anyways, David or Danny, will you please play Don Lemon? Throw the Don Lemon because he goes to interview the pastor.
What do you think of this?
This is the pastor.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here.
Positive, Danny.
Okay.
Listen, folks, this is what we're going to get into because I'll tell you what, I had to do a deep dive into the FACE Act because what he's saying, Don Lemon, is totally not true. A place of worship does not fall under the U.S. Constitution, your freedom of First Amendment right to free speech. It does not. It does not. I'm sure you all are aware of this. Danny, throw the FACE Act stuff up there if you can.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually
it is a Christian country. The country is based on
freedom.
Christian
it's religious
fundamentals.
freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist.
You know why you're the
I
face
do
of it,
understand that I'm the biggest name there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh, here we go. Pause it, please.
God.
All right, David, there's a lot to digest and unpack there. First of all, folks, I said this on Twitter the other day. No one gives a shit that you're black, that you're gay. Okay. David and I don't walk around going, hey, we were cops. We were detectives. Oh, by the way, we're heterosexual males. Okay. Nobody gives a shit what you are, what you do in your bedroom, who you date, who you're married to. Nobody gives a shit. Okay. It's got nothing to do with anything. The second point I want to make is this. I'm so fucking sick of the white supremacy bullshit. Okay. Let me tell you what. Okay, folks. Here it is for you. If America was so racist, okay, I'm going to steal this line from one of the pundits that I heard a couple months ago. If we were so racist, white people are the ones that elect presidents. We elected Barack Obama twice. Without the white vote, he's not getting into the White House twice. Without the white supremacy vote that you're saying, you're not having a female black, which I don't even know what the hell Kamala is, but we'll just give her female black because that's what she identifies as. We elected a female vice president. Double banger there, right, David? My point is, everybody's sick of the bullshit. Nobody cares about your race. Nobody cares about your sex. No one gives a shit about who you're banging in the bedroom. And now, David, it has to come. Every goddamn thing that these people talk about, they got to bring it up. So I'm going to start every podcast. Hey, I'm Johnny Freaker, retired detective with the Rochester Police Department. Heterosexual male, married to a chick. I mean, come on.
White male.
Oh, yeah. But thank you, David. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate that. Oh, God. Well, wipe my mouth. I'm so jacked up right now. Though, by the way, Danny makes me put this light on. I'm sweating like a hog right now with this light on me. But David, let me just say this. Greg Gutfeld, like him or hate him, had the greatest line last night. He says, these people, and yes, he did. He said, these people, meaning the asshole protesters. He said, they won't go into a biker bar and do this. Oh. That was a great line, right? Go into the If you believe this
Go
so
down Bronco Terrace and
Yeah.
go knock on the Hells Angels door with that emblem on the door. See if you can
Yeah.
go stand outside in front of that house and
Right.
raise hell. See if you
Right.
can even go down Algonquin Terrace.
Right, without getting stopped. Hey, by the way, hang on, hang on one second. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to, David, you're right, okay? And let me tell you something about the Hells Angels, okay? I never did cases against those guys. It never really crossed my path. Um, but I know locally they hang out at a couple places. Um, and some strip joints, some not. But why don't these people in Rochester, why don't they go in there and voice their opinions? You know why. Okay. The Hells Angels, you get what you deserve when you poke the bear with those guys. They're not looking for trouble. Okay. They're not looking to fuck anybody up. But let me tell you what, you cross their path and you piss them off, they are going to jackhammer your face. Okay. Gutfeld said it. Gutfeld said, why don't these people go into a biker bar and do this? We know why. They're picking on people in a church that they know aren't going to fight back. Fire guy, what's he got, David? Do this in a mosque and see how outraged. Yeah, you're right. You know, any other place of worship, David, that the left deems that we're insensitive about, like a mosque? Yeah, of course they will. What do we got here? You're right, Fire. We have deputies here in Santa Rosa County at every church. Yeah, see, Kristen? Oh, by the way, Kristen was the one with the text messages last week. Remember, David? Is that a price tag on the bottom of your cup?
It's scratched off.
You want to let everyone know how much you paid for your Dunkin' cup? I paid $87.50 for this thing. Check this
Georgia
out.
Bulldogs national championship mug.
Anyways, Kristen, yeah, you're right. That's what a concern of mine is, David. That's a concern I have. I have a concern that these guys and girls are going to go into, because you have seconds to protect the congregation. Okay. Split seconds to protect the congregation. Those cops, those boys and girls, those men and women that are strapped up, they got their guns on their hip, might be in a suit, might be in khakis and a polo, David. They have loaded guns, and they usually, in most instances, especially if they're law enforcement, they know how to use them. They better be careful what churches they go into.
Right, and they also like to get handsy, and if your
Mhm.
hand hits a gun in a holster,
Yeah.
people can interpret that as going for the gun, and if you're going
Right.
for the gun, that means you're a deadly threat.
You're a target.
Right, and that means you get the gun, but you get the hot end of it because
Right. You get the barrel.
right, so, you know, people wanna get all handsy, and they see a gun, and they wanna touch it, and they wanna grab it, and they wanna bump into it. People can misconstrue that very fast, so
Yeah.
when you're dealing with people that are armed, it can pop
It
off
goes south
quick,
quick.
and they can articulate very well why they believe that they were
Right.
in a deadly physical force situation.
Right.
So you're playing with fire going into churches.
Right. And listen, David, we'll say it once again, right? The Dems started this. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the rest of the Dems that supported it said, there's nothing going on. Our borders are fine. They're safe. They let these millions and millions of people come into our country. And what disgusts me is now they're critiquing, and we've said this before on our live show on Saturday. We said it last week. Don't break into my house and then question the manner in which I'm going to defend my family. Okay. And this is exactly what that
Violence
is.
isn't pretty.
It ain't pretty.
But violence is necessary.
Right.
So, I mean, it just it you know, shooting someone never looks good.
Right.
Punching someone in the face never looks good.
Right.
So, if you can't stomach it, look away because everyone wants things on video. And I would certainly want things on video because, you know, I would be justified and it'll
Right.
help my justification, but
Right.
it's going to be ugly. And,
Right.
and I always say that you don't want to see what's needed to defend people and to protect people and the means in which you do it. And you do it within the letter of the law and through justification.
Mhm.
But when it's time to be violent,
Yes.
violent is not pretty.
It's
I
not.
wouldn't want my mother to see me do something. I wouldn't want my daughter to see me do something. But your dad could be a violent man, and that's what's necessary. And it's not pretty, but everyone wants
It's
it on
not.
tape. And there's no way to punch someone in the face or no way to shoot someone and have it look good.
Mhm. And listen, I'll tell you right now, David, you know, I've said this before. You've talked about it. We actually did a segment on this a year or so ago on the radio. We recorded one of our live shows. We talked about one or two of the things that you and I have been involved with that people are asking to tell them stories. And we talked about how, with my family and my friends, I never talked about anything remotely about the job. Okay. And that was just what worked for me. I'm not saying that works for everybody, but I just shielded my friends and family from that. And I shielded them, especially from the violence, that we saw, okay, that we were a part of, that we had to enact on others to keep the community safe. And those are the things that, this is almost like an outlet for us to basically tell our family and friends, look at, we did it. We're older now, but we did it. We kept it from you. But when you see my brothers and sisters out there dispensing the violence on the street, that's how it is, folks. I hate to be so flippant about it, but that's what it is. Cops have to shut their emotions off because they have to survive first. Okay. They have to survive first. They have to eliminate the target. And that's just a polite way of saying we need to kill what's in front of us. That's it. Bottom line. And there's no way, like David says, that that's going to be wrapped up in a little bit bow and make it look pretty, right, David?
Correct. And I would add that crazy gets you a lot of room. And I was always taught that at a young age by my dad. And he said, the guy that you think's a little crazy is the guy that usually doesn't get messed with. And that carried over to me on the street. And usually the guys that they tried were guys that they thought they could try and push and wouldn't push back. But the guy that they thought was out of his effing mind, they didn't try that guy.
Yeah,
So,
you're
and
right.
I think these protesters need to sometimes feel that they're picking on people that they feel won't push back. They feel like law enforcement's hands are tied. They
Yeah.
feel like they're not going to be able to do anything, and they can laugh in their face, spit in their face. They're
Right.
seeing now a little bit because they've been encouraged to push back, so they're pushing back.
Right.
But when you go into a church service like that, it was like the slaughter of the lambs. Like you're going to a place where they didn't think they were going to get pushback. That's why they did it. They're not going into like you said, a biker bar or a football locker room. They're not going to they're not messing with a hockey team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not happening.
No, 100%. And I'll tell you this too. One of the stats I saw this week, it was like 93% of ABC, NBC, and CBS's coverage on what's going on in Minnesota. 93% was all negative. They never placed any of the blame on the protesters. They never said, hey, if you didn't act like an asshole, the cops wouldn't be treating you like this. Or like we've said, David, how many times have you and I both said, if the local municipalities would just cooperate with ICE, put these people in custody in your jail, Renee Good would be alive today. She'd be alive today because if you would have grabbed the people that they're targeting and put them in your local hushgau in the jail, then guess what? She would be alive today. And by the way, some of those people that are going to get locked up, and David, you and I both know because we lock dudes up federally. The feds don't play around. When you get charged, what do you say, David? You're doing 80% of your sentence. This isn't liberal New York State. So you're going to do, if you get 10 years, you're doing at least 8, right, David?
And if they can, they're going to supersede the indictment and keep jacking the charges. That's the game. They're going to indict you on the lowest possible thing to get you indicted.
Right.
And then if you don't want to plea and you don't want to play and you're going to start making them file motions and do stuff, then it's called what they call a superseding indictment, and they just keep stacking the charges.
Yep.
They'll indict your mother.
Yeah.
They'll indict your sister just to put leverage on it. Just I'll put leverage on it. And one thing I want to point out is it's funny that it's California, New York, Minnesota, Illinois, all these different states that all this non-peaceful protest goes on. But we see some protests in other states. But it's funny. There's some protests in Georgia, but nothing totally peaceful.
Yeah.
Barely any protests in Florida.
Yeah.
Texas, same. Right? Like it's really odd that it's Democrat-run states and cities where these people literally trample on other people's rights and the rights of law enforcement and infringe on law enforcement. Right. But in these Republican states run by Republicans, it doesn't seem to happen like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I bust their balls a lot too. The geriatric parade that's always at the 12 quarters of the town of Brighton. At least they're not being violent. At least they're not being disruptive. They're kind of on that island at the 12 corners with their sign. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with
and listen,
that.
I don't have a
Got no
problem with it
issue with
either. You
that.
wanna stand out in a park with your signs and sing songs
Right.
and chant and blow horn, that's
Right.
fine. But when you're surrounding cars, you're blocking traffic, you're surrounding people and
Mhm.
intimidating them and getting in their face
Right.
and blowing horns and whistles in their face and in their ears and
Yep.
megaphones, then you're gonna get punched in the throat
Yeah, that's what
or
happens.
get locked up.
That's right. Danny, play the David, I know you're gonna have a heart attack because I watch CNN. I watch CNN because when I watch it, you know how
Yeah.
I got a couple of screws loose. I watch so I could develop what I would say if I was on the panel. I know I'm a loser. I do that. Danny, play David the explanation of the FACE Act that I grabbed from CNN from their legal analyst. Oh, you don't have that video? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry. Danny's in my cans right now. He's in but there was a legal analyst on CNN. David, hang on. I know what you're doing right now. You're judging Danny.
I'm
Danny
not
works,
judging anybody.
He works hard for us, David.
He's wonderful.
All right. But anyways, let me explain the video to you folks. So basically what ended up happening was CNN had one of their legal analysts on, and the journalist, the reporter, or what do you call the lady, the anchor, was not prepared for what the analyst said. And she basically described the FACE Act, saying the place of worship is protected by the FACE Act. Now, not to get too deep into the weeds, the Dems had proposed the FACE Act years ago. When they proposed it, the Republicans were the ones that said, okay, we get that the religious freedoms should not be imposed on people getting abortions, which is why Biden locked up some of those people that were opposed to getting abortions relative to their religious freedoms. However, the Republicans made the Democrats, before they signed the FACE Act, and they agreed to it, they made them add places of worship. And this falls under the FACE Act because of what the Republicans demanded, and then everybody signed off on it. I'm glad they did, because when you look up the FACE Act, folks, I'll tell you right now, it protects faces. It protects places of worship like that church. Danny, roll the illustrious Bill Clinton. What did Bill Clinton say in '93 about immigration?
Criminal and other deportable aliens deported since 1993. Every day, illegal aliens show up in court who are charged. Some are guilty, and surely some are innocent. Some go to jail, and some don't. But they're all illegal aliens. And whether they're innocent or guilty of the crimes they're charged with in court, they're still here illegally, and they should be sent out of the country.
So that is the key phrase there. Whether
Slick
they are
Willie.
guilty or innocent of the crimes they are charged.
So that is hysterical because, folks,
I voted for Bill Clinton.
right. So that guy, Bill Clinton,
I liked him as president.
that dude, he was a law and order dude. He was a law and order dude.
I got hired off of his police
right.
corps program.
Yeah, the bill. Yep.
Yep.
The crime bill. You know, the thing is, folks, that was probably the last of the daddy's donkey Democratic Party, because Obama certainly was not.
You thought he was, though. Like the first term I voted for, like
right.
he was a new guy. I was like,
Right.
you know, he said all the right things. But then you saw he was a snake at the end of his first
snake in
term.
the grass. Yeah. But folks, see how the party has changed? Do you see how we wanted to play that video because that's where the Democratic Party has changed. They are so far left now. I think there's a stat, and I could be wrong.
It's not Democrats. They're social. Like they're socialists.
Right.
It's a socialist party. It's not even the Democrat. It's Democrat by name only.
Right.
Those aren't Democrats.
Right. But that guy, Bill Clinton, is the last of the Democrats. That was the last of the Democrats for the party. I don't know, like you were going to say, David. I don't know why they're freaking saying that they're Democrats, because they're certainly not.
They're not.
They're so left wing. They're so left wing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know that there's some liberals. I know that there's some moderates in the Democratic Party. I know that there's some true Clinton and JFK Democrats that are still around. But David, I'll tell you what, they hijacked that party. The vocal minority have hijacked that party.
If the Republican Party went as far right as the Democratic Party has gone left,
right,
people would be showing up in hoods
Right.
Okay, that's how far right you would have to go to match their far left.
Right.
Like, they are so off the reservation, so to speak, that
Yeah.
it's it's almost a joke. Like, there is nothing. John Fetterman is the voice of reason for that party, and he's a guy that if he lived in my
District.
voting district, I would 100% vote for the guy. I like everything that guy has to say. He's a moderate. He's right down the middle.
Right.
You know, he agrees with Republicans on a lot of things, and he agrees with Democrats on a lot of things. He's right down the middle.
Right.
He is hated by the Democrats.
Right.
Hated.
But he wasn't hated. He wasn't hated when they needed his seat in Pennsylvania, though. They were all out there. They were all out there campaigning, because even though he was literally, he couldn't even talk, I felt sorry for him. I thought what they did to him at the time was horrific.
Yeah, I did
Basically
too.
propping him up there like he's Weekend at Bernie's.
Kind of like the Joe Biden thing, right?
What thing? What are you talking about?
Propping up a half-dead guy to be president?
Right.
Well, they propped him up, right. He just made a recovery and is sharp as a tack right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just disgusting, David. It's unbelievable. Danny, play the Tom Homan show the folks about Tom Homan. Here's another Democrat. There's Obama. So in 2015, Barack Obama awarded Tom Homan the Presidential Award for Service for Making America Safe at ICE. 10 years later, liberals want Tom Homan killed. It's the same Tom, but a different Democratic Party. Man, that was such a great tweet. This is literally where the Democratic Party has gone, folks. They are the party of the unhinged. You can't talk to them. You can't have a conversation with them. I mean, I'm not saying all, but the majority.
Yeah, but people you can have a conversation with, Johnny, are not today's Democrats. They're Democrats from 40 or 30 years ago or 20 years ago.
Right.
They're my father's Democrats, or they're the Bill Clinton Democrats. And they're associated based on an historical relationship with the party. They're not really aligned with them. They just continue to vote because they're on Team Democrat, but they haven't come to the realization that party left them.
Yeah, the party left them a long time ago. It was just disgusting. David, I'm going to tell you right now, and I think Rochester is also in for a rude awakening, because it's going to suck, because I know that there's a lot of social programs, specifically with kids, that are going to get their funding taken from the federal government, because Trump and the administration are like, hey, D-bags, tighten up your ship, because you're going to start losing funding if you're a sanctuary city. And I'll tell you right now, Rochester's going to lose some of that funding.
I mean, I feel bad for the kids, but
yeah,
I don't feel that bad for the politicians, because they've had ample time to find some common ground, as we talked about on the last show. It was on the Saturday radio show, where I said Buffalo plays it perfectly. Buffalo,
they're not a sanctuary.
They're not a sanctuary city, but do they run cops out there alongside ICE and scoop guys up? No. But they're also not a sanctuary city. They kind of play both sides. There's a way to do it. You don't have to make a political stand. And that's what we have done here. And it's a horrible mistake. Again, this all could be rectified very simply. If you have someone in custody on a felony or any type of violent crime, okay, sex crimes, assaults, all that stuff, you turn them over to ICE. Boom, here you go. Hand them bad guy. We all agree. Assault 1, assault 2, even assault 3. You violently attack a guy, assault 3rd. You go. You got to go. Now you get picked up in a DWI. You get picked up on a trespass. You get picked up on a domestic, where there's no physical, nothing too physical. It's more of a harassment. Okay. That guy doesn't get turned over. Okay. You can play it a little smarter. You can work with ICE, but not turn over every single person that's in on a quote minor crime. Now, I don't agree with it. I would turn over everybody that was here illegally that committed a crime. But I'm saying that people that are Democrats that run these cities could easily find a middle of the road way to play nice with ICE in the sandbox while still keeping some of their core values of not turning over everyone that's involved into minor offense.
100%. Well said, David. In basically what you kind of teed up our next video, Danny.
Because I went to the production meeting and I know what's coming, Johnny.
You never come to any production meeting, but it's good. It's good to say that to the audience, but you are never we say it every week, David.
Not a meeting guy.
You're not a meeting guy.
Not a meeting guy.
You're not, you know what you are?
Not an email guy, not a meeting guy.
You're the guy in the Major League Baseball. You're like, I'm not doing batting practice. What time's the game start? And then you just get right in the batter's box.
And I'm not going to miss the fastball.
And you're never going to miss the fastball. Danny, so David, before we play this, so this Abigail Spanberger, she's the governor of Virginia.
What a name, Abigail Spanberger.
Yeah. So Glenn Youngkin, who was a Republican that won a few years ago, who works for the Trump administration, was
Spanberger.
Abigail.
I've read that 100 times. I've never thought it was funny until you said it.
You don't think you love it. Anyways, folks, Abigail Spanberger is the new governor of Virginia, which is right outside. It's literally like what Greece, New York is to the city of Rochester, right outside of D.C. They're extremely left. Here was one of her first things she did after the first year. Danny, pop it in there. Roll the tape, brother.
And this executive order rescinds executive order number 47. State and local law enforcement should not be required to divert their limited resources to enforce federal civil immigration laws. It is a responsibility of federal law enforcement. Virginia state and local law enforcement officers must be able to focus on their core responsibilities, investigating crime, and community policing.
Stop it. All right, folks. Okay, listen, we had to play that because what's going on in the state of Virginia, what's going on in New York City with Mom Dami could be potentially coming to a city near you. And what I mean by that is by you going after law enforcement, making them be uncooperative, like Rochester, New York is, okay? Just so you know, the guys and girls in Rochester, New York are anti-ICE. They have orders to follow. It's a paramilitary organization, so they do what the city tells them to do because they're employees of the city. Do our guys and girls want to go out there and help ICE? Of course they do. Of course they do. But we're a sanctuary city. Unfortunately, they can't. They can't or they will get disciplined. That's the shithole of Rochester that we live in right there. Put that in the books. Tape it, cut it, and put it on any social media. That's right. Johnny Furica said the shithole of Rochester is like that because Rochester is a sanctuary city. And what ends up happening is you have cops that are willing, able, and ready to help federal agents, and they're not allowed to when it comes to immigration, David. Yeah, and this is going to be a huge problem throughout the country.
I don't want to see people in need or, like you said, you brought up kids. That's always a hits on a soft spot. Get deprived of anything because federal funding gets taken. However, I feel like they're calling the bluff. They're saying we're going to do these sanctuary cities. We're going to F you, and you don't have the balls to do anything. You're not going to push back. It's the same way on a much higher level. The way these governors and these mayors treat the feds and their policies and thumbing their nose at them is consistent with the same way that the protesters thumb their nose at people on a lower level. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just will do whatever they want to do and don't think anything's going to happen. I'm going to beat on your car. I'm going to stand in front of your car and you don't have the balls to run me over.
Yeah.
You're going to do nothing. I'm going to be a sanctuary city. I'm not going to help ICE. They could scream on the radio for help. We're not going to help them.
Right.
All right. We're going to help the bad guys and you're not going to do nothing. I feel like they're calling the bluff from the bottom protester all the way up to a governor, and no one's holding them accountable.
Well, I could tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you right now. All these protesters, and I mean all of them, they have zero pride, okay? If you jackhammered a dude's face, okay? All right? I guarantee you they would sue you, okay? Like that little twink on the bridge with me, easily. Obviously, we knew he was mentally unhinged, but like him, guarantee you the first thing that would have happened would have been pay for my medical bills, pay for this, pay for my new teeth, pay for my broken jaw, pay for whatever. And guess what would have happened? The Furica family would have been out 50, 60, 100 grand because this guy's got no pride. None of these people have no pride. And what ends up happening is when that time comes, another I Told You So episode, I guarantee you when these protesters do something and they try to impose their will on somebody, and like I said earlier in the podcast, and they get dealt with, like you're saying, with violence, guarantee you they're going to sue because that's what they live on. They're pussies, all of them. The men, the women, they're all pussies. They literally do not have an ounce of integrity in their body. Because, David, we know dudes that went out to bars, right? Acted like drunk assholes. We all hung around with people. And then sometimes somebody like, oh shit, they ran their mouth to the wrong dude. But then they took their beating and then that was the end of it. You know what I mean? They didn't sue back then. They didn't fucking do anything back in the day that would have remotely. They said, you know what, man, lick my wounds. I was a D-bag. Guess what? I'll take my beating and go home, wherever bar they were at in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now it's not like that. Guarantee you with these effing protesters.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
But in the heat of the moment, I don't have the rational ability to put dollar signs in front of my
I know I do
violent switch.
I do. Well, listen, I'm not going to tell people what my trigger are, but people that are close to me know what my trigger are. And if that trigger happened, it would be pretty bad. But anyways, Danny, I think we're good. Don't play that last video. We don't really give a shit about that. But Danny, David, you got anything to add before we head out?
Yeah, the sad state of my Buffalo Bills I'd like to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
Has any owner in the last decade ever mishandled a press conference, a coach's firing in a worse way than Terry Pegula handled this? I can't believe what has gone on. You fire a coach, whether you want him fired or not is different, but you can't dispute that the guy turned around a franchise, took him to, I think it was 8 straight playoff appearances, I think six consecutive or 6 division titles. Totally changed the face of the program to go from the laughing stock, much like the Sabres are under the Terry Pegula, to one of the most fan favorite franchise in all of America. Like everyone loves the Bills. Everyone roots for the Bills. Even people that aren't Bills fans root for the Bills. Okay. And then you fire the guy, and then you come out with a press conference and you say, I fired him and I gave it no thought. I walked into the locker room, saw how sad our players were, which anyone that played sports in a tough loss, that's how the locker room always is. And it should be. And I decided to fire him on that spot. And then he throws his star quarterback in the franchise under the bus as the main reason because of how dejected he was. He wouldn't even acknowledge the owner. Well, he probably wouldn't acknowledge the owner because he thinks the owner is an asshole. So, it's really sad that the mecca, the face of New York State sports, I mean, especially Western New York, I mean, the Bills are everything here. Right. And they had finally gotten to a point, Super Bowl or not, where they brought joy and entertainment to the masses every fall. And you knew with Josh Allen and McDermott, you might have heartbreak end of the year, but we were going to be in it. All right. You were going to be right there. Now, I'm telling you, they're going to hire a second-rate coach that has very little experience. Maybe even the offensive coordinator gets promoted to one of the most coveted jobs in the NFL because the owner and the GM don't want a strong personality coaching that team. Your John Gruden's, your Mike Tomlin's, if Harbaugh was still available, those aren't going to be the next coach of the Buffalo Bills. Mark it.
Right.
It's going to be a cupcake.
Good take, David. Good take. What do we got here, Fugazi? Only way Pegula could recover. Right. That's a good point. Frank Reich. Taskers.
Hell will freeze over. Brady got interviewed today. Brady's going to be the next head coach and I mean Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Bills who came from LSU.
Going to be next where? Who?
He's going to be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
That's your prediction?
Yeah, because they want a cupcake. They want someone the GM can run over, won't say a word, and Terry Pegula is married to Bean, and if Bean wants that, Bean does not want a strong personality as coach. People are saying Bill Belichick. There's no way Bill Belichick could work under Bean or Pagula.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says. We were talking about it. I was talking about it in a text stream with some of my buddies. You know what I mean? And yeah, right. That's hysterical, by the way. 50 years of rebuilding, well, 52 now. But yeah, you're right there, Mr. Mike Rotolo. But but I'll tell you this right now.
Shame on you for being from Western New York and liking the Dolphins.
David, Mike Rotolo is saying I don't look interested in you assessing the Buffalo Bills.
Right now. You weren't, but that's fine. I had to get it off my chest. It's been pent up.
I was very interested. I will tell you this though. Let me tell you something about. I said this the other day to some boys that I was with. I will say this. Don't talk to me about Bill Belichick. Don't talk about him being in the conversation as the greatest coach ever. That was all Brady. I don't care what anybody says. Brady leaves. Next year, he wins the Super Bowl in Tampa. Not 2 years, the next year. Okay?
There's some truth in that. But
okay. And then what does Belichick do? He winds up, what is it, 1AA North Carolina? They're
ACC, but yes, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Then
he did land like a 24-year-old, though. I mean, he must be.
That's the only thing I give him credit for. Oh,
by the way, someone said Dayball, the former Giants coach who got fired, who is now or was the former offensive coordinator of the Bills, should be the head coach. The guy didn't do anything with the Giants. He was god awful. So you're going to hand him the keys to a franchise that is right there, knocking on the door
with a new stadium,
with a brand new stadium, and with one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, and you're going to hand him the keys to that, and he's never even made the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. Over a guy that made the playoffs 8 times.
Right.
I digress. I'm done.
You're mad.
I'm more mad about the Bills, than I am about the ice stuff.
I know you are, David. Well, listen, folks, Fugazi says he killed North Carolina. They were so hopeful. Yeah, they were. Oh, man. What do we got? Mike Rotolo coming in. Dave's he loves your passion. There you go. Mike Rotolo likes your passion.
Thank you, Mr. Rotolo.
Oh. All right, that's it. Danny's in our cans, folks. That was the Crime Dawg live stream here every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. You can also catch us every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wham 1180 iHeartRadio. We will be there every Saturday for our live show. Folks, thanks for tuning in tonight to the live stream. We hope you stick with us for future episodes. But like my brother-in-law Frankie Grassi says, if you can't make it next time, who cares? Ooh.